welcome you all to this session on cybersecurity and zero trust frameworks. Now, let me begin with a few pointers on the subject. Now, as energy and utility sector advances towards more digital and interconnected frameworks, the boundaries between physical operations as well as intelligent systems is blurring. Critical infrastructure now is defined by not only just assets and networks, but also about the strength of cyber defense, the agility of its automation, the intelligence embedded within the operational framework of these solutions. So the convergence of IT/OT, the emergence of predictive sensing technologies, the adoption of robotics, especially in hazardous environments, and infusion of AI into trading, planning, control functions are collectively reshaping how reliability, resilience, and performance is achieved. So this session links all of these threads together, highlighting how proactive cyber intelligence, zero trust frameworks, smart industrial devices, and autonomous inspection systems, all with AI enablement, are creating new operating paradigm for energy companies. So we have an excellent lineup of speakers who will cover on various aspects of these topics. So without any further delay, let me first invite Dr. Yask Sharma. He is the Chief Information Security Officer at IndianOil, leading their enterprise-wide cyber resilience initiatives. He will be presenting on energy cyber intelligence, a federated model for proactive cyber defense. So Dr. Yash, you have about 12, 14 minutes, please. Thanks.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Slight correction. I'm not handling the CISO position now. It was when I had applied, when I had submitted this paper. Anyways, the topic that I'm going to talk on is a federated model for proactive cybersecurity. This is for the entire energy sector. We are now living in an interconnected world. While that's a very cliched statement to make, but the fact of the matter is that now we are more connected than ever in terms of even energy companies talking to each other, not just for the supply, but also for the digital things. The point, what is important to note is that if there is some problem that is happening even in one of the companies, the operations of the other companies can easily get affected. This is something that we have been seeing. Now, when there are a lot of advantages, operation efficiency is improved, optimization is brought in, but then this has increased the threat area for the cyber attackers to target. This is one of the, this is one of the reasons that what we are seeing in the last couple of years is an enhanced, frequency of cyber attacks. In fact, if we just look at 2024-25 comparison, we see almost a 34% increase just in 2 years. This kind of speaks a lot about the interest the cyber attackers are now having on the energy and critical sectors. And this statistics is only for the critical sectors. In fact, 1 in 4 are now paying ransom, which is as much as $5 million. And that's a huge amount. 24 number of days is when the operations get affected. And these are, these statistics are just taken from the public domain, but these can be even worse than what is presented here. The point is that, the cyber attackers are not stopping. They are now seeing the larger ecosystem to target. They know as to how and where to, attack. In fact, if we look at the last just 4 to 5 years, only in the energy sector, we see that the attacks have been widespread. And it is, from the western part of the globe to the eastern part of the globe. One interesting thing is that similar kind of modus operandi is being used when the cyber attackers are targeting these kind of companies. So something which is happening, let's say in 2021 Colonial Pipeline, similar kind of indicators of attacks have been observed in the eastern part of the globe as well. So that kind of indicates that the attackers, which were previously known as very localized, regional, or maybe even nation states, are now collaborating a lot to carry out these attacks. This is something that has been talked a lot, that the attackers are collaborating. What is it that they are collaborating on? The point is that they are collaborating on the intel. The moment you come to know about a certain vulnerability in a particular organization, that information is traveling across the globe to all the cyber threat attackers, and they are trying to exploit those things which would have been far more difficult for them to do earlier. attackers are far more coordinated and collaborating, whereas the defense people are not. This is a very interesting study. If somebody is wanting to understand as to how this dark synergy works, wherein everything right from logistics to the communication channel to marketing, how all this intel or information about vulnerabilities is spread across, how they are collaborating, ransom as a service is being offered, dark web, they have marketplaces where the information is being sold. A very good case study is 2020, wherein this three cyber attacking group, the Maze, Ragnar Locker and Lockbit, they collaborated together to carry out a lot of these attacks. In fact, amongst these three attack groups, they were sharing a lot of information as to how the attacks are to be done, who are the target groups, how this can be done, and each one was playing a certain role. So this entire, this has been demonstrated by the cyber attackers, whereas, this is something that is lacking on the defense side. So the idea that is now being presented as part of this paper is that we have to move away from an uncollaborated to a collaborated and combined approach. A structured collaboration is what is being proposed here. What is going to be done is that while the companies are interconnected, they are sharing a lot of information, but the entire ecosystem is not common when it comes to the threat intelligence. It is the important part here is the intelligence piece. What is being proposed is that we would have a larger ecosystem in which the intelligence from one entity to other would flow easily in a very formalized manner. We would be talking about that, how that is to be done. When we talk about intelligence, what exactly does that mean? Is data intelligence? Is it beyond that data? We have been using these statements that data is not information, information is not intelligence, intelligence is not wisdom. Then what exactly do we mean when we say intelligence? Simply meaning that whatever data that we see, we have to convert it into some actionable insights, actionable items. And this is precisely what we are wanting to achieve by having a network defense. What we are going to do is that threat intelligence, 3 layers. The bottommost layer would be the tactical layer, which is the now part. This part of the intelligence is something that would immediately be applied by the cyber defense people. This is, the perimeter devices, the firewalls, the IPS, so on and so forth. Then the tactical part, the operational part, which is the how. The TTPs, the techniques and the procedures, the tactics, as to how a certain attack was carried out. This also brings a lot of intelligence into it. And finally, the strategic, as to why a particular target, why a particular agency, entity is being targeted, why a particular area is being targeted, is there some geopolitics behind it? All of these would form a part of the overall intelligence that is to be curated or created. The intelligence per se is based on 3 pillars, SEGINT, HUMANENT and OSINT. These are the cyber threat intelligence 3 pillars. We'll look at it one by one. SEGINT, the most common, signal intelligence, is something that comes from the devices and the appliances that have been deployed. All of these devices through which the data is passing would be generating a lot of information, a lot of data in the form of alerts. And if there are cybersecurity professionals here, they would know that the SIMs and these kind of devices generate a lot of such information. So one piece of the information for the intelligence comes from the signals from these devices. The second part comes from the humans. Now, there is not everything that can be captured by the devices. There are times when the humans have been able to apply far more intelligence on the alerts that they are seeing. So the second component in the cyber threat intelligence that we are talking about would be the human intelligence, the people, the experts who are working on it. And the final part is the open source. And this is again very important, for the cyber attackers, they are publishing all sorts of vulnerabilities on their dark web, marketplaces. If those can be scanned and be a part of the intelligence that is being presented to a cyber defense person, it will add a lot of value knowing that, something that can be breached is already available in the dark web. So all these 3 would go into the central cyber threat intelligence piece and form a larger piece which can then be given to the entities which are wanting this. This is how it is going to be. The biggest challenge, when companies talk about wanting to share information, the biggest apprehension is that I don't want to give my sensitive data. That is the reason why defense agencies or defense companies are even today not able to get everything from the participating entities. The model that is being proposed here is that only the intelligence is going to be shared and not sensitive data. It is in such a manner that all the entities would have a certain deployment in which a machine learning model would be operating, would be getting trained at that entity with the data that is exclusive to that company only. However, once that machine learning model has been trained, only the updates would then go to the central aggregator. The aggregator takes these updates from all these entities, then synthesizes it, gives it back to the machine learning models which are deployed in those entities, so that all the entities are now benefiting from the collective intelligence from all these places without sharing any sensitive data. Now, that is the beauty of this whole solution. Just to show you as to how this would be in motion, the stage one would be local model training. It gets deployed in one of the organization. The people who are working the SOC teams or the human intelligence on top of it would be training those models. Then it goes for the secure aggregation. Again, the synthesis happens. A similar simple model can be fed a model in a machine learning, in which this data is now then flown back to the original entities from this from where it was collected. This is just a prototype. I'm just taken the examples of IOC, BPC, HPC, and something like this can be created. The important technical stack is that homomorphic encryption is something that is going to be used. The advantage of homomorphic encryption is that you don't really have to decrypt the data. So this is going to actually work without decrypting the data and using this technology. Then obviously it will have a zero trust architecture layer and very important an audit layer, so as to see whether it is actually adding any benefit or not. I'm sorry, this. Okay. Yeah. The benefits obviously is that, it is a privacy centric design. As I said, only the information or the intelligence is going to flow, not the sensitive data. It is going to have energy specific taxonomy. Now, this is again very important. People who are in the cyber defense would understand that taxonomy. When I am operating in an energy sector and I know that our RTU or a SCADA system or a DCS is to be worked upon, if I understand the meaning of these terms and these terms are there as part of the intelligence, this would add a huge value. Automated defense, obviously, once I have got that thing, I would be able to do a much better defense and quantifiable metrics. As I said, MTTD, mean time to detect or response, is something that we can track and it can be audited. This is a huge value that can be added. Moving forward, the defense people also do threat hunting. Now, threat hunting is typically done on information which is available within that organization. Now, with this model, wherein I have the information from other organizations also, my threat hunting is going to be far more accurate or far more widespread. Imagine an IOC SOC team doing a threat hunting based on something which has been seen, let's say, in ONGC or BPC. Now, these are different entities operating in the same segment, but would be able to give far better insights. As I have already mentioned about the incident response and supply chain security, end of the day, we started off with this intertwined world and connected world. The idea is that not only do I have to secure my organization, I also have to take care of the entities through which the data or possibly the information is flowing. For me, the security does not just remain limited to my organization. It is a collective effort. That is what the idea is. Obviously, with any new idea comes challenges. The first is that initial adoption and trust, because as I said, the defense people, the cybersecurity defense people always are apprehensive about sharing sensitive data. So we can start with a demonstrated one of the organization and then get some value through it, demonstrate, and then move forward. Technical overheads, as I said, this requires some kind of a technical investments also. Homomorphic, SMPC, zero trust, and all these things. Idea is to start small and shared infrastructure. All the entities which can be a part of this would have to do some sort of an investment. And the final is the interoperability, which is a challenge and also the advantage once we are able to do something like this. And sticks and taxi is something that is being proposed as a medium to use, because a lot of companies would still have these legacy systems. Finally, the phased approach, what we are thinking, when this paper was being, when I was preparing this paper, I was thinking as to how we can take it forward. In fact, this entire, we see a lot of energy people here. I think a pilot is something that can be done. It does not involve a huge amount of investments. Once that pilot can be done, then obviously the sectoral companies would play a very important and vital role in trying to promote something like this, and then finally integrate at the national level. We have national nodal agencies which take care of this sending this threat intel to all the organization. That is the larger idea. So the overall idea is to have a common threat platform through which the intelligence can be shared based on the intelligence gathered and taken from all the other organizations. Thank you.
I think thank you for this excellent presentation. You made some really important points. Threat is coordinated, but defense is not. And the power of collective intelligence, when all the agencies pool in the intelligence, the outcomes can be phenomenal, because generally threat operates similar to any other sector, one step ahead in terms of innovating. So thank you for bringing this out. Let me call upon the next speaker. Mr. Rejo Mathew, team lead for digital business at Bharat Petroleum. He will be talking about zero trust approaches for IT/OT convergence in critical infrastructure. Over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you. A very good evening to everyone. The subject that I'm going to talk about is securing Industry 4.0, zero trust approach for IT/OT convergence in critical infrastructure. Three critical or interesting words that is there in the subject. First is Industry 4.0. Second is IT/OT integration or convergence. And the third is zero trust, or rather cybersecurity, right? On this platform itself, a lot has been talked about Industry 4.0. Everything that we are looking forward to, in fact, the entire IEW platform talks about it, that is robotics, AI, digital twin. All that is nothing but implementation of Industry 4.0. Now, to implement an advanced structure, right, an Industry 4.0 ecosystem, the core of that, one of the central pieces of that is IT/OT integration. Because the data is generated at OT. You can create a world outside in the IT ecosystem, but till the time the good data, a genuine, a clean, structured data is not available, there is nothing that the IT itself can do. And one of the key challenges to do this is the security framework that the ecosystem operates in. OT traditionally has a very different way of looking at security, and that's where this entire ecosystem of zero trust as a concept or as a framework comes into place. So today what I'll be presenting is how BPCL has adopted a zero trust cybersecurity framework in its CGT ecosystem. Just to a quick problem statement, right? Where are we today in terms of CGT network? BPCL, along with these multiple various operations in multiple business streams, CGT is one of the major business streams that we are in. Traditionally, the entire ecosystem of CGT, I mean, from an implementation point of view, the network laying is large geographical areas, multiple assets across the geographical areas, most of them in remote locations. Right. Now, again, all of them implemented by different service provider, different technology at different point in time. So what it leads to a legacy system. Now, as a part of implementation of Industry 4.0, what I want to integrate all of them. Now, while integration itself is a big challenge, but somehow even if I do integrate, it adds to a new challenge, that is from a cybersecurity point of view. Higher risk, because more integrations, more possibility of attacks. OT traditionally, again, one of the major limitations that we have seen in OT is perimeter-based security. That means a simple concept, allow only something that is secured. But once it is allowed, there is no control inside the entire ecosystem. And from an operational point of view, the entire CGT network basically operates at a critical infrastructure level, because any downtime practically means no energy supply for the entire GA. Now, how do we implement an OT IT integration in such an ecosystem, right? And keeping security as the nodal focus point here. That's where we introduce zero trust as a concept. High level, 6 key points. What we talk about, first thing, at every entry point, you should verify. Rather than just keeping one as an entry point and after that no more verifications, allow the ecosystem to operate, get connected, get interdependent, introduced a checkpoint at every entry point. Create logical isolation of critical assets so that even if there is a threat or there is some exposure of any kind of a threat, it is localized or isolated to a logical with a logical isolation of that. Edge computing, that's what IoTs in nowadays brings. The ability to do real-time computing at a local level, that helps improve the identification of a threat faster. Least privilege or limited access, while as a concept, access should to be given, but control it in a way that only limited access is given for what is required. Introduce gateway as a security mechanism. If there are multiple systems interconnected, bring in gateway as a system where every protocol is checked. And finally, have a standardized governance ecosystem that ensures the entire philosophy is implemented in the similar fashion across the ecosystem. Now, what happens by doing this? In nutshell, as an organization, where we are going into a strong governance, which is led with high cybersecurity resistance. That's what we are looking at. Now, cybersecurity looks more technical, right? But does technology has an answer to all the problem statement? The answer is no. One of the key enablers to implement this zero trust as a concept is to enable it as a part of the organizational governance ecosystem itself, right? What it entails policy consistencies, it entails clear ownership in who would handle what, clear ownership in what access is given to which users, and organizational process, along with transparency of data collection, access, authorization, and protection as a system. Okay, what we did, as I said initially, the OT remains as is, right? That there are a lot of systems on field. Let it be the pipeline network laying, let it be SCADA, let it be the compressor that we have, or the PNG and industrial supplies that we are giving with AMR facilities. All that remains the same. On the right side, if you see, that's where the entire ecosystem of Industry 4.0 is getting developed. A cloud-based solutions which is scalable, where we introduce AI, ML, big data, the digital twin, along with the security features of SOC, of identity management solution. And in the center, we enforce a zero trust enforcement layer, where basically it talks about identity and policy enforcement, protection of protocol validation, and context awareness and controls. So again, as I said, implementation, technology, first problem statement. Second problem statement, adoption at a governance level. However, there are two more additional levers that we need to enable it for it to be completely accepted in as a part of the transformational change. One is the workforce readiness, and the other is the ability to take risk. That is the risk trade-off. Traditionally, what you see as part of OT, the principles of on which the field engineers operate is that I want the asset to be up, working all the time. Rest communication is not my priority. So capability building, alignment of the thought of the work of the framework from the highest security, that is CISO, to the management, to the last person who is using it. That becomes a key enabler to adopt it as a change, right? And at the same time, if you see on the rightmost side, this part which says, absolute security is unrealistic. if we want 100% sure that nothing should nobody should attack, then nothing will work. But the approach that we are looking at is we are looking at a layered defense with edge intelligence and resilience by design. The core concept is that we want to adopt the newer technology, increase our efficiency, improve our bottom line, while the side effect of that is higher risk. But to manage the risk, this is how we are going to adopt it. To summarize all the points till now, very quickly, for zero trust, adaptation and capability building is a vital activity. Governance is a key. Trade-off in terms of risk versus doing newer things has to be enabled, and standardization of the governance is required in terms of scaling the approach at an organizational level. Few key takeaways from our side is IT-OT integration is not an option, is a prerequisite, because as an organization, we are all looking at AI, we are all looking at digital twin, we are all looking into big data, cloud computing as an ability. And to do that, the data has to come from the OT. Now, and security, cybersecurity is as critical as the technology itself. Buying a newer technology will not solve our problem. We have to see cybersecurity as an enabler, and zero trust as a framework is not a product, but it is an operating model. And to finally conclude my presentation, few of the recommendations which I suggest for any large-scale organization to implement an ecosystem like this is, first thing, take cybersecurity as an strategic enabler and not as resistance or a challenge that cannot be overcome. That comes with a thought in change, that is security is layered. Security is to see that we are able to manage challenges at the right time. And zero trust is a concept or a framework that enables us to reach that kind of confidence in the system that, okay, security is available. And that's where the organization is able to leverage IoT, AI, ML, edge computing as part of the next digital transformation journey. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mathew, for bringing a practical step-by-step process of implementing zero-based trust framework in an organizational context. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Dr. Sharma has to leave. He has to join another session. So thank you again for participating. Pleasure. Let me now invite Mr. Jagannathan. He is the Senior Product Manager for John Crane, and we'll be talking about, his presentation is on embedded seal sensors for predictive and reliable operations. Mr. Jagannathan.
Thank you, sir. Hello, good evening, everyone. I know you all look very tired, same like me as well. So I'd like to quickly run through the concept, what we experienced within John Crane in terms of innovation category. And I would like to share some insights, what are the benefits we are going to get if you sense-enabled seals, dry gas seals, deployed on your sites. And also I would like to cover the architecture, what kind of safe architecture we are considered as part of our innovation. And also the main key aspect is the cybersecurity aspects, right? So everyone talks about cybersecurity. So we also consider the cybersecurity, how we are handling the cybersecurity in terms of data management and also in terms of data governance as part of the sensing solutions. So with that, I would like to quickly move on to the slides here. So I just want to start from the challenges, right? So what are the key industry challenges in terms of the compressor operations, right? As you all know, so the compressors are major critical equipment into the energy industries, and within the compressor, the dry gas seal is the heart of that, right? So it's a very critical to make sure that how we are operating your dry gas seals in a more secure and reliable way. So what we did is we come up with the sensing solutions, which means the embedded sensor within the seals, which will allow you to monitor your seal health on continuous basis, right? So remote operations, where you can continuously monitor your seal health and performance of the seal, which will help you to, run your operations smoothly and reliably. So in that, so that's one of the industry key challenges, right? So we have a mechanism where you can monitor your operations, but when it comes to the seals aspects, the seal is always using some traditional way, which means the indirect indicators, which mainly vibrations or some other parameters, flows and pressures. Based on that only you are predicting the seal's performance, and you are understanding how the seal is performing. So what the sensing solutions help us to do that is, since the sensor is embedded within the seal, which will allow you to collect the data from the seal on real time and making sure that your operations are smoothly running, without any seal issues in that aspects. So we are trying to come up with a solution to address the industry challenges using our innovative technology solutions. And also as part of a digital transformation in the industries right now, right? So all the operations are transforming the digital era. Like one of our colleagues just talked about the Industry 4.0, right? So everyone moving towards Industry 4.0. And Industry 4.0 consists of multiple components. Like one of the key components is the cybersecurity aspect, which a couple of my colleagues have already explained in detail, what exactly the cybersecurity and what is the importance of cybersecurity. So I want to rely on the same thing, echo the same thing, but with respect to our sense-enabled technology solutions. So basically, the industry is moving towards the predictive intelligence, and then, it starts from the prescriptive intelligence, then automated the operations using those prescriptive intelligence, and then autonomously control the operations aspects. So in the prescriptive intelligence, as you can see here, right, what happens? Lots of AI models are there available right now, which will help you to, understand your operations and run your operations. So AI models are help to detect your anomalies and also early deviations, including some pattern recognition of your compressor operations and the seal performance and so on. That's basically awareness, right? It's to help you to understand what's going on. So AI will help you to understand and, aware that, here's things going on. The next step is, you need to also understand, what to do after that. You get the recommendations, but you need to know what to do after that, right? So also we have different AI models which will help us to recommend some optimal actions based on your indications, and that translate to your maintenance and operational recommendations. So that's basically helping to give a consistency and speed of your actions based on your operations and anomalies. The next one is you need to automate that a little bit, right? So you need to automate those operations so that you can reduce your manual interventions, and it will really save a lot of time or efficiency before it goes to a catastrophic disaster. So the next step is to automate your operations using the AI methodology with the cybersecurity in place, right? So because without the cybersecurity or data governance, the things can change in many different directions, which is uncontrollable, in a bit. So we really want to, insist that the technology is available right now, and the industry is moving towards the digital transformation. So we want to, start from prescriptive intelligence, and then, prescriptive intelligence, automated operations, and then autonomous operations. So here's the example, right? So this is what the innovations we did so far on the dry gas sensings. So we have embedded sensors within the dry gas seals. So the sensors is acoustic emission sensors, as you see in the slides here. Acoustic emission sensors, which is one of the critical sensor which allow you to detect your anomalies based on your acoustic signals. And then the liquid presence sensors, which basically, identify is there any liquid intrusions happening within the seal chamber, right? And then we do have our speed sensors, which is in, development phase, and then, the temperature sensors, of course. So these are the 4 sensors as part of the innovation, and we have the solutions, embedded solutions available as part of our dry gas seals. And once you get the sensors data, then what next, right? So we have our AI-based analytics approach. So we have to, adopt our AI available solutions or techniques within the domain here. So that's what we did. We embedded our sensing solutions and then adopt the AI, artificial intelligence, to come up with our business analytics or the predictive analytics for dry gas seals. So based on the innovations, so we first finalize the innovations. Okay, so this is the DGS technologies, and here's the innovation solutions available. Then we are thinking, so how we can successfully develop the technology and then deploy the technology to our customers so that the customer will see the value out of it. So we focus on the architecture first. So as you can see here, the system architecture and data flow. So it's all based on IIoT edge device control, right? So we have our sensors collecting data, which sits next to the compressor, and that collects a huge volume of data, right? It's not the 1 Hz data or something. It's more than 1 Hz data, which is the resolution is more the huge volume of data. So we are running our algorithms and analytics on the edge, which collects all the data, processing all the data, and then sending that information back to the cloud. Right, so that's where we deployed our secured IT/OT segregations, as one of my colleagues mentioned. How we can able to transform the data, how we can secure the data from the field sensors all the way up to your cloud or up to your server side. Right, so data. What is the security in place during the data at rest and data at transit? So we kind of considered all the aspects of data security and data governance, and then come up with the complete end-to-end solutions for our sensing technology solutions. So as you can see in this slide, the sensors send the data to the acquisition unit, which is IIoT device, edge device. And then from the IIoT edge device, we transform the data back to the cloud, which subscribe the data and then do all the processing. And all our predictive analytics are running on the cloud. So we have predictive analytics for the dry gas seal sensing solutions. And then we have a visualization layer. So customer can just log in and monitor the seal performance and health information on it. So once you get your seal information, now we know that, okay, you understand what's going on in your seal. So what next, right? How we can improve the value to the customers, how we can able to add more added value to the customers by integrating with their customer panel data, right? So we need a customer compressor informations or process informations. That's where we are recommending to have your data governance or architecture in place in such a way that it can be easily scalable, reliable, and also all future integrations opportunities. So in this example, as you can see here, I can define the layers, right? So the bottom is always a data sets layer, and then the data informations layer here. Then we have analytics layer, right? So we have our data analytics layer. Once you collect your data, you have your own algorithms. You can build your own algorithms based on your customer's pain areas, which is use cases. We call it as use cases. So you collect all the use cases and then define your algorithms and then generate the value out of your customers. So here's the customer data integration concept, right? It's not only the sensor data. We also need to integrate your customer informations, example, customer panel informations and the process information, so that you'll get a more robust decision making based on the outputs of this one. So here's a few examples, right? How the AI predictive analytics help to detect the anomaly detection in advance, right? So we don't want to wait for something happen then take action. So instead of reactive actions, we need to do a predictive actions. So this is where the AI models really help in this AI space, especially the sensing technology, where we collect the data on the high resolutions. As you can see in the right-hand side on the plots here, right? It's trying to, during the compressor startup, it tries to baseline the acoustic emission signals. Then we know what's the acoustic emissions signal for the baseline for that. So it's basically, it helps to baseline your, the acoustic emission signals. Based on that baseline, you can run your operations. And then any deviations from the baseline, you'll get alert and notifications. So this will really help the customer to run or operate their compressors, with the dry gas sensing seal technology, more reliably and scalable aspects. Of course, that solution also help us to define your own business rules. The rules and logics are available. Either you can come up with your physics-based rules to deploy it, and within the same architecture. So that will help us to give more value to our compressor operations as well. So these are few field deployment results we'd like to share, right? So basically, there are multiple compressors are shut down during the unclear causes, right? So during the startup, they couldn't really start up the compressors, as per the SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? So this is one of the use cases where they have the sensing technologies for the dry gas seals, and then that will help us to understand really whether if there's anything happening during the startup anomalies or not. That will give a confidence to the compressor to continue their SOPs, the operations, or updating their SOPs if they miss some steps. So this is one of the example use case we deployed to one of our customers, and they end up saving 8 days of downtime. Otherwise, without unknown causes, they probably shut down the compressor and then understand what's going on. So with this stuff, they can continue their operations and successfully start up the compressors. So likewise, we have a few examples here, as you can see. I don't want to spend time on explaining this one, but feel free to reach us offline. We're more than happy to share more details in terms of the use cases here. So basically, out of this solutions or the journey, what are the technical contributions in terms of the innovations? So first thing is the innovation, right? So the innovation is basically the sensing technology on the dry gas fields, and then what is the next value out of it, right? After the sensing technology, we realize that the efficiency gains, right? Because we save the compressor downtime, unplanned downtimes and all. Also the operations efficiency, we see that improvements. So, and then of course the sustainability, right? So you can able to, since you collected the data in a secured way and you rely on the data, you trust the data. So after that, automatically the sustainability will comes into the picture. And since it's this solution is part of the cloud, the scalability is not in the challenge here, right? So since it's a cloud, you can auto scale and it's go up and down based on your operations as well as the configuration data. Then of course, we talked about the integrations, right? So after getting the data, what to do, right? So it also allows to integrate with the customer other panel informations and the process information, which will help to get the more robust decision very fairly quickly, instead of doing all their offline analysis traditionally and then having lots of meetings and discussions with multiple teams and take a decision. This will help to basically remove all the silos of multiple team decisions and discussions and offline analysis. This will help to take a real-time discussion and decision on time more in advance. As a future outlook, right? So we discussed about what is the technology and what are the architecture concepts we considered and what value we see in the customer. But this has to be properly defined and properly implemented as part of the framework, right? So as you can see here, right? So this is there's lots of industry standards available, right? So we have so if we talk about the ISOs and SOC 2 Type 2 and IECs, right? Those are all related to cybersecurity in terms of specifically on the data security, data aspects, and the process. How we are deliver and deploy your solutions, and how we are securely manage and handling the customer data, right? So all these are parts under the standards. So as soon as you follow the standards or you comply with the standards, then your framework will be completely secured and more scalable and reliable on this aspect. As a conclusion for this one, so in terms of the embedded seal intelligence, it definitely proves that it enhances the compressor reliability, because you have all the information in advance and you have taken right decisions in advance. So that is the one thing we, as a takeaway on these discussions. And also the AI-enabled monitoring, right? So artificial intelligence, we have to leverage our current technology, right? So we have AI is available. So we have to, leverage and adopt those technologies based on the use cases. So in this particular dry gas seal sensing solutions, we adopt the AI technology, which will help us to enable the predictive maintenance or predictive analytics of the solutions, which automatically translates sustain the operations as well. Right. With that, I can thank you for attending the IE2026 team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think classic example of how small innovation can help in significantly reducing downtime, improving asset life, inspection, avoided production cost, and so on. And especially in areas where there are harsh industrial environments where physical check is not possible. So thank you for bringing that out. Next, I will invite Mr. Balaram Saha, Deputy General Manager from CESC. He will be talking about a product called Boiler Bot, revolutionizing boiler inspection with robotics and vision AI in thermal power plant. Mr. Balaram.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, IEW, for giving us this opportunity. My paper is on more of a deployment site of a thermal power plant. So a lot of presentations on the refineries. So I'll give some change on the. So this is a in-house deployment of a AI bot, which can real-life example of implementing the AI bot on a power plant for inspection and improvement of the reliability of the boilers. So myself, Balaram, I am heading the Analytics Center of Excellence at CESC, and this paper is jointly presented by me and my colleague Ritaban Mukherjee. So About the CESC is one of the largest, one of the India's oldest power utility company, almost 2.2 gigawatt of thermal power generation, along with the distribution in the city of Kolkata, Noida, Chhattisgarh, Kota, Bikaner, and many other cities. Along with, we have 4.7 million customer base of 3.2 gigawatt of renewable energy in capacity. And we are one of the efficient distribution and the generation company in the country. So the CESC is the first company which bring the thermal power plant in India since 1897. So now the problem comes to a real life example. In every thermal power plant, it operates a boiler. In boiler, we fire a fuel, which is indigenized coal, which has a 35 to 40% ash. So when it burns, it gives energy, and that energy converts water to steam, and that steam runs the steam turbine. So many a problem is if any of the outage occurs in the boiler, it's as a power outage. It's a shutdown of a plant, and it is subsequently it's an outage of the thermal power generation. So the inspection of the boiler is most critical in terms of availability and reliability of the asset. So if you see the boiler, it's continuously 24/7 into 365 days running with a higher percentage of ash. So there is more of a corrosion and fatigue, and there are a lot of thermal stress, which is operating at 1200 to 1400 degrees centigrade. So which gives the boiler more probable to the failure zone. So now the inspection, when every 2 years, the statutorily we have to shut down the boiler to do the inspection of that boiler as per the boiler regulations and the Safety Act. So the more challenge of this high boiler, the height of the boiler is 52 to 80 meter. So inspection of those boiler through a visual inspection and reaching to a second pass zone with a very congested area, it is a very big problem. So this gives a problem to unattended areas where the people cannot reach. So it's more susceptible to the failures, and it occurs during the running condition. If the inspection and the changing of the boiler tube is not done properly, it gives the failure, so which gives the power outage. So now our team has worked upon to this problem, because it's a 24 into 365 days working, and the most of the challenges are manual tube inspection is being done by the skilled labor. Now there is a scarcity of the skilled labor, and when there is nobody is reaching in the second pass, so there might be a miss. Also, what the deeper area, the lower area, it is leading to incomplete inspections, and the current method requires the confined space entry, which is a heavy health and safety hazard and the risk. So to every in-plant shutdown, to give a corrective and preventive measure, we have developed a boiler bot which can give a automated inspections. So if you see, these are the zones of the real life boilers where you can see these are the bunch of tube which is very difficult to inspect by visual inspection. So in industry standard, in any of the thermal power plant across the globe is doing such inspection manually by doing the scaffolding at 50 meter, 80 meter, and based on the megawatt of the size of the boiler, and do this inspection manually. And it is a tremendous risky job, and there are many chances to unattending of this area, where there may be a small leakage can prevent the unit outage. This is the boiler bot what we have indigenously and inside our team we have developed. So it has a wheel, it has a AI camera inside it, and it can move vertically and horizontally. So once we place to the boiler tube, from the outside remote control, it can move through the tubes, and it can take the AI pictures, and by analyzing those pictures, we can take if the boiler tube is okay or not. If there is any difficulties, we can go back to that area, particularly on that zone, and take these corrective actions. So this is the bot that is AI enabled, and electric box is in it, and it has a 360-degree rotating camera which can take the pictures, and it has a capability to take in every second 60 inspection, 60 pictures in a second. So now, why boiler bot in the boiler second pass? As I sense, the tube is very dense, and it is very narrow edge. It is not possible to enter. The manual inspection over deeper rows is there are blind spots, so it may miss. The automated movement are completely user control through a handheld control device, and reducing the confined space risk where the people go to the confined space and do the inspections. And this our goal is to a structured and a 100% foolproof reliable system which can give a comprehensive picture of a boiler which if it is healthy or not, because the electricity is an emergency supply and you need to give the electricity 24/7 for the reliability of the other industries also. So that in a single, if a single boiler tube happens, the unit is shut down for 3 to 4 days. That is a loss to the commercially as well as the industrial loss. So this is the pilot that initially we have developed. This is the architecture of this model. So it has a camera inside it, and it can travel on the tube horizontally and vertically and takes the picture of that each and every tubes. And it has a horizontal motor as well as a vertical motor, and it can routinely, repeatedly takes the samples of the thousands of tubes in the second pass of the boiler, that is LTSH, the low temperature superheater, and the economizer zones. So if you see the one of the problem when you deploy it first during the trials, we faced it because the boilers we burn coal, and coal has a 35 to 40% ash. So cleanliness of the tube is the most important thing. Though after shutdown we do a jet cleaning of the tubes, but in some areas where it is not possible to do the jet cleaning, so we have also customized a jet system which finally cleans the tube first. Then it takes the readings of the tube thickness. So that it can be, it doesn't give the erroneous data. So there are a lot of trials happens to set it right, so that the every tube which is going, it is clean first and take the picture. So if you see, this is the live example of the tube, how it is going. It is a very low range device which is going each and every tube vertically and horizontally, and take the pictures. If you see the zone here, the inspection by visually it is not possible. So this bot can take those images or every section in the turns, in the U-turns, and it can take the very accurate results. So it requires previously these inspections being done by a gang of 30 to 40 people. Now this inspection can be done by 2 people. And the 2 people with a laptop, with a handheld device, which will be inside, 2 people will be outside, who will seeing the screen, and 2 people will be inside to place the bot from one place to another place. So how we train these bots to give the accurate results? So the primarily the data training was so we have the operating data sets for last 10 years. So we have gathered all the last 10 years actual failure tubes data, and we take the image of those failures, and all those images are labeled that this is a failure of crack, this is a failure of chemical corrosion, this is a fatigue, this is a high temperature failure. So we categorize the failure, and images were labeled using the CVAT, that computerized vision annihilation tool. And after this tool, we have used the YOLO 8 to train those devices, so that when it actually goes on the field, the bot actually goes on the field, it compares it with its trained data. If there is an accuracy of similar nature of failure is found, it gives an alert to in the laptop, because we don't want to get so many alerts where that can be misleading. So that the training of this bot is most important thing, that we have trained those bot with the actual failure data of that particular plant, so that failure pattern from one plant to another plant varies. So that label and training has been done with the actual trained data, actual failure data of that particular plant only. So after that, this trained data, we have used a customized Python model, where all the pre-processing steps, all the pre-filled the images were put in, and the model gives a output of the Gaussian edge detection to increase the accuracy of the detection. If the detection have when the bot is real-time moving, if the detection mechanism finds the accuracy of the present tube condition is giving the more than 93% of that previously trained data, then only it gives an alert. So to eliminate the false alert, why 93%? Because we have trained those data, and we have seen At 90%, there are few errors it is giving, but after 92 or 93%, the number of error images given by the system is very less. So after all the collection of the images, our engineers, the thermal engineers, mechanical engineers going to each and every image and identify that location and do the corrective actions very smoothly. So that whole inspection, which was taking around 10 to 12 days of time for a particular shutdown, now it is happening in 1 or 2 days. It's a reduction of almost 90% timelines with more accurate version of imaging. So this data acquisition model we continuously retain those data when there is after 2 years, there is a planned shutdown. After every shutdown, the boiler is cleaned. So that data, again, we take those data sets and images and train this model with this AI model and so that it captures the more accurate images. So this is the field result. If you see, this is a live example, one of the images that was captured by the pod, where it gives the actual failure, so prevented the downtime of the unit, which commercially also gains, and also the downtime of the electricity also gone down. So this is a major advantage of this kind of a tool, which gives you the real-time deployment, and engineers, it reduces the effort of the engineer, the field engineers. So also reducing the confined space entry. There is a lot of low oxygen risk. Also, the goal is to, once it is successful, we have successfully deployed in one plant, and then this will be deployed to all our thermal power plants through these evidence feeding maintenance systems. We will be continuously evolving this system, and it will train the automatic boiler data by taking the real-time data. So the key benefit and ROI, this type of system, presently it is not available in the market. Because the market, whatever tool, the tool and the robots available by various plants, it will be not trained by your data. It will be trained on generic data. So always the generic data or generic bot will give you the erroneous picture. If you get a 90% accurate result, when you purchase it or give it a service order to a third party who gives such type of a service, it will give a generalized boiler tube failure data. It will not match with your system. It will take longer time. It will have a cost. So such cost we have analyzed. There are parties who give such service. There is some international parties also. The cost of one survey is 80 to 1 crore, where we have replaced this bot with a 2 lakhs rupees with the indigenous bot. So there is a huge saving. There is a huge appreciation. We have also applied the patent. It is the final stage of approval. And this through this device, our effort of the engineers has reduced a lot. And this AI model is so powerful enough, it is giving a 90% accurate data and 90% accurate picture of actual predictions. So what is the next step and recommendation? This type of the bot can be built for any of the pipe inspection, not only the thermal tube, also for the tubes, which are the underground tubes, also your water tubes. So we are in a preparation because we have a water tunnel which is coming to plant from the river. So during the shutdown, the bot can be customized to take the thermal image or inside image of the water tubes also, and this will be commonly deployed to all of the other plants. And once this is the patent is available with us, we will be customizing it for commercial runs also. So this is a very proactive and approach for preventing. By this employment of this, we have reduced the boiler tube leakages, the post outage, by almost 80%. So previously, in a year, there are 3 to 4 boiler tube leakages. After the throughout inspection, it reduced to 1 at the Indian benchmark level. So that's all from my side. This is the detailed presentation of the boiler bot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think what it brings is age-old practice, which is manual, which is incomplete, risky, to a more data-based, more low-risk, and I think beyond boilers also it can be applied to variety of assets once customized. It has large-scale applications. So thank you for bringing that out. Let me now invite Vaibhav Nigam, technical consultant at Uniper, and he will be talking about generative AI in ETRM workforce evolution. Please, Vaibhav.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the technical committee and everyone here for giving me a chance to present this. So let me begin with a simple truth. Energy markets here are like walking on a tightrope. They change continuously. and prices and regulations multiply, and they change. Uh, and in the middle of the whirlwind stands the human being trying to place a trade, analyze risk, and operate an energy trading and risk management platform. We've invested billions into digital systems, but pennies into making sure people can keep up with them. Today, I want to share a simple but transformative idea. The future of energy trading won't be built by technology, but it will be built by people who know how to use the technology at its fullest. So let's explore the world these people navigate every day. Picture a trader starting the day. Before he starts his day, regulations change, trades change, markets change, and they're highly volatile. And these things look like they are drafted overnight. In an AI driven competitive market, the human reaction moves faster than time. This is not an industry evolving gradually. This is an industry transforming in real time. And the workforce, the heartbeat of this transformation, is expected to adapt instantly. Which brings us to the uncomfortable question: are we training them for reality? The ETRM systems, they are not a plug and play device. They are highly licensed, highly customized, and according to the businesses, they are woven into every corner of their world. To operate them, you need the instincts of a trader, the thoughtfulness and curiosity of an analyst, and the logic of an engineer to build the platforms that support them. We're asking people to become unicorns in a day while we're training them to be house cats. Well, the gap isn't talent. It's in how we develop that talent. So what would it look like if we redesigned workforce development from the ground up? In this research, we asked 5 questions. What's working? What is not working? What skills matter the most? And can we create a curriculum that evolves as fast as markets do? Can we make the curriculum as volatile as markets and make people understand how we can actually deliver everything on time? And that's when we opened the door to something powerful, the generative AI. Yes, so with the advent of generating AI, we have now a platform where we can create a traditional platform into something else. Generative AI can teach the way traditional programs do, but what it does, it learns the learner. It adapts to the mind frame of the learner and it comprehends that into its daily use. Imagine a training system that adjusts to your pace, your role, your strengths, even your mistakes. Imagine real time guidance inside complex workflows. In the energy trade and risk management world, there are multiple managers, frameworks, and generative AI can help each and every person to learn them in their own time. So, in this scenario based simulation designed for trading risk, we can bring everything together. That's not training, that's augmentation of human capacity. But there's a twist: AI alone isn't enough. Our research revealed that the magic happens when AI blends with human-led learning. There are self-paced modules which builds confidence, instructor-led sessions that create clarity, and on-the-job experience that builds mastery. After our research, we went into 3 models, which were our prime candidates for the best hybrid model. The first was Foundation Academy. As a fresher, when someone joins a company, they are not at all well versed with their frameworks. And how we can develop that talent is use generative AI to teach them at their own pace and with an instructor-led paradigm where they can clear all the doubts, and then they can easily integrate into the framework of the company. Then comes the product owner model. The product owner model is for a mid-level career. So I've been 7 years into the industry, and now I know that one can change from one place to another, one technology to another, because it evolves very fast. A developer may want to become an analyst may want to become a developer. So this product owner model would help everyone to cross-train and cross-functionally learn everything which they want to achieve. Generative AI would help them to achieve that with their own pace and as per their own rules and regulations. Also, that would help them to to make the areas they want to achieve even faster. Then comes the 3R strategy. Every company has a senior leadership, and with the advent of technology, everyone cannot update as fast. The 3R meaning reinvent, retool, and reskill. This helps the senior workforce to reinvent themselves into something else. They can become a mentor, a guide, and using generative AI, they can create the workforce of the future. And the results were unmistakable. With our pilot program simulations, we were able to see that these generative AI programs can help people have a 70% knowledge gain through the programs, a 30% cross-functional growth in which they can transition from one role to another easily, a 60% performance boost. With the 3 Rs, we can use people more efficiently, and a 20% of senior adaptation. So, what makes organizations truly succeed with this model? So, there are three pillars for success. First is personalization. Personalization. Powered by AI, personalization can help everyone achieve everything in their own time. Everyone cannot understand things. Some may be fast, some may be slow. But with the advent of AI, they can easily learn at their own pace and become the efficient programmer or an analyst that they need to be. The next is strategic integration. When the technology becomes the backbone of human development, strategically placing it into the learning can easily amplify the results. And third would be continuous learning cultures, a place where trading, risk, and IT learns together instead in silos. We can create a continuous learning culture where everyone comes together along with technology and transforms this space. Now, how do we put this into action? So here's the roadmap. We can build a foundation academy and train our freshers into the system. We can create specialization pathways for mid-level to senior level employees and show the high potential efficiency that there is. Adaptation. We can empower the senior organization and people who want to learn and reinvent themselves efficiently into the organization. And then optimization. Optimize this whole framework into a hybrid model, and voila, we'll have a perfect training model which can help an organization become more profitable, efficient. And when all these pieces come together, something remarkable happens. You start seeing teams who communicate better, collaborate better, and perform better. You retain knowledge that normally walks out the door. You build resilience in a market that rewards adaptability above all else. And that brings me to the heart of this message. In the race to reshape the global energy landscape, technology will keep getting faster, but the true competitive advantage will belong to the organization that help their people grow even faster. Gen AI gives us that opportunity. The future of energy trading will be written by empowered people, amplified by intelligent systems. And that future starts right now with how we choose to develop our own. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think ETRM, it's a complex and very regulated sector. And what generativity does is it democratizes use across so that people who are not familiar with models can also use it. So thank you for bringing that out. Before we conclude, I think it was an excellent session, and let me thank all the speakers. We started with power of shared intelligence in the cyber framework. Then we deep dived into framework for zero trust framework and the steps implemented in Bharat Petroleum. Then we saw deeper examples of AI-based analytics with seal sensors as well as boiler bot complex segments where this can be used. And we ended with the energy trading, risk management, and Gen AI usage in that. So rich variety of topics and case studies. So thank you to all of you for participating, being selected here, and sharing your intelligence and knowledge of your respective organization. And thank you to all the audience as well for staying this late, patiently hearing and being here with us. Thank you very much.